Good afternoon, morning, a night, whenever you find yourself to watch this. It is St. Patrick's Day, if you can't tell by the green I'm wearing. And we are lucky to have you on watching. And we're lucky to have a little HBCU Pigskin 4 for 4. We got 4 guests today, so stay tight in your seat, eat those mashed potatoes and whatnot, or shepherd's pie on this day, and just kick back and relax with us. Before we start and introduce our first guest, do you guys have anything to say to open things up?
No, just happy to see you guys again. And as we start to build this show, I mean, starting to look forward to these Thursday nights hanging out with y'all. So hopefully you guys feel the same way.
If you think of March as being draft season instead of March Madness, then this is probably the right place for you. So that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, thanks, Coach Williams. Very, very sweet of you. And Jackson, we were just told that a 15-2 upset was in the making. How could you say something so rash? But I guess we'll move on from that to lest we anger any of the basketball fans and introduce our first guest. If you like fullbacks, if you like good old-fashioned smash mouths, triple option football, if you're an Academy fan like myself, then you'll like our first guest, Brett Silv from Kentucky State. And, talk about a fitting nickname for his school. He played for the Thoroughbreds. I'd say Brett is more than a thoroughbred in his own right. And, he's laughing at my joke. I'm pretty sure he thinks it's corny as heck. But, Brett, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so I'll begin with the questions, and then we'll go clockwise from Coach Williams to Jackson, then Coach Grove. I just got one question for you, Brett. So we mentioned that you're a fullback. I can sympathize with you being a high school scout team option fullback for 3 weeks. I can sympathize with your plight of getting hit every single play. But how hard are you anticipating the transition from being a fullback to a halfback in a pro style scheme?
Well, I actually played more halfback coming into college. The reason why I transitioned over to fullback was to transition with the offense that we had. We had a different coaching staff come in my junior season. Coach Jackson, he came in with Coach Hamilton, and he brought in a triple option, which changed things around for us and put us back on the winning way.
Absolutely. And before I kick it off to my co-host, did you have more fun playing the option scheme? I know a lot of people think that to track the options, like, oh, it's no fun. We're running all the time. We're not throwing any passes. But like, you guys were winning a lot. You guys were running the ball down people's throats in some pretty great venues, whether it be Lucas Oil Stadium or the Horseshoe out of Columbus. Like, did you enjoy running the option more than the previous scheme?
I had more weapons around me in this scheme, so. It's always fun when you're scoring touchdowns. This year we put up 76 points. Everybody getting the ball, getting in the end zone, so we get a lot of partying going on. So it was fun scoring touchdowns for sure.
See, the option can be fun. I'm glad you said that, Brett. So we'll go on to Coach Williams for his first question.
Yeah, Brett, like I told you before we got on, we appreciate you coming on. And, as we build a show and you guys are coming on, helping us build this thing. So we appreciate you guys taking the time and doing that. And just happy to talk to you. But my question to you, man, is just watching the tape, man. I mean, I'll tell you, man, the thing that I like about you, and you watch the wing tee and that sort of thing. You got your hand down in the 3-point stance, but after the ball is in your hands, what I like most about you is that the lower body is always churning, man. And as a former college running back, I mean, I kind of watch and kind of get a feel for what a guy's thinking. I mean, is a guy satisfied with a 7-yard run? Is a guy really thinking home run all the time, or I'm going to score until they actually bring me down? So when I'm watching your tape, man, I see that lower body even as you're coming into contact. So I got to ask you, man, what's the mentality when you get the ball in your hands? Is it score every time I get the ball in my hands? Because that's what it looks like to me.
Oh yes, sir. Most definitely. My thing is to really not go down by the first person. If you're getting tackled by the first person, then at the opposition, you can't really move on to the next level. But like I said, I'm trying to score. I'm trying to do everything possible to help my team out. Whether that's 4th and 1 getting the first down, or whether we just need a big play, 10 yards or a nice 50-yard burst for a touchdown. Just helping the team out the best way I can.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see it in your running style. I mean, you were, in my mind, one of, I'm going to tell you, man, I thought, you know, touches, I thought you were the most productive guy, you know, in all of HBCU football this year. And, you know, and I really, I got to ask you too, man. I mean, playing division at the Division II level of HBCU, you know, how do you compare yourself to all of the other running backs in HBCU? Because when you look at the tape and you match you up with some of the guys that they say are the top pro prospects, I mean, I don't see much difference between you and like a Jermaine Martin, you know, guys like that. I don't see a lot of difference in my evaluation of the film. So, how would you say, you know, Division II HBCU? Do you feel like that's even further off the radar than even the guys in the SWAC?
I mean, yeah, coming from a smaller school, especially being Division II HBCU, I feel like they don't really put us up there, like you said, with a Jermaine Martin. But at the end of the day, numbers don't lie. I had one of my best seasons this year, productive wise, scoring 17 touchdowns. I mean, can't argue with that. And like you said, every time we step on the field, I'm ready to compete, whether that's against Division I talent, Division II, Division III, really doesn't matter, because if you're talented, like I said, they're gonna find you regardless.
That's absolutely right. 100% correct. You played in our game. You were our first HBCU Pigskin MVP. So you're gonna be stuck with us for life, man. We're gonna be bringing you back for Hall of Fame inductions and all that stuff, man.
I got my jersey. I got my jersey right here from the game.
That's right. Yeah. So you're gonna be dealing with us for a long time, man. But that, but my question to you based on that is, playing in our game, also going down and playing in the HBCU Legacy Bowl, which was also a big, invite for you. I would ask you, and you don't have to tell me the teams, but between our game and that game, how many NFL teams, pulled you to the side and talked to you a little bit?
Honestly, I didn't really have too much, feedback coming from the games. But at the end of the day, I know I'm just gonna keep my head down, keep working, because at the end of the day, hard work is gonna always try talent any day. So all I could do at this point, is keep working, keep waiting for the opportunity, and just make sure I'm prepared when that door does open.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, my last question, I'm gonna squeeze it in, guys. What do you think makes you a pro? Why should a team give you a shot? What makes you a pro running back?
Just my ability to adapt. I've played in multiple different schemes, had success in multiple different schemes. I'm coachable. I'm gonna take everything in from everybody, the coach, the owner. If you have any input that's gonna help me improve my game, I'm gonna make sure I take heed and studying the film, just making sure you're in the right place at the right time, and can't go wrong making plays.
Absolutely. I'm hogging up the time, guys. I'm gonna let y'all ask some questions now.
Brett, first off, thanks so much for coming on. You've been so generous with your time. I sure appreciate you coming. I guess my first question is when teams are looking at rookies, they often look to when they've transferred or when they're a freshman. How productive were they when they first came on the squad, right? And to see how will it translate in the league as far as production in your first couple of years. Well, let's look at you, man. In 2015, your first year at Louisiana College, you tied for most touchdowns on the team and almost 8 yards a carry. Then in 2017 at Kentucky State, you were first team all-conference as a running back, a kick returner, second team all-conference as a punt returner. So a lot of special teams versatility too. What goes into that? That wherever you go, whatever different system it is, immediately you're very not only productive, but like the best.
Honestly, I feel like it goes back to when we were young, playing in the backyard. At the end of the day, it's football. Whether you're playing in the NFL, whether you're playing, like if I go outside and play with my cousins, it's all football. And I feel like I'm not gonna let anybody be better than me, whether that's preparing, whether that's on the field between the lines. I don't want anybody to be able to say they've bested me. And if you did give me one play, just be sure that I'm coming back the next play.
I love it, man. Football is football, and no one's going to beat me out as long as I'm on the field, right? I love that mentality. I guess my other question for you is when a team is lucky enough to sign you, their fan base is going to go on and probably not watch your all-22, but instead just look at the numbers and see that you're 5'8", right, and wonder why they didn't sign a bigger back. I'm going to ask of these four guys that have been 5'8" and been productive in the league, who do you compare your game most to? Jaquez Rogers, Maurice Jones-Drew, Darren Sproles, and Barry Sanders. So pretty good list. I'm curious, of those backs, who do you think you're most similar to?
I want to say I could put it all together between Maurice Jones-Drew, Barry Sanders for sure, because they're so versatile, especially Barry Sanders. He don't like going down by the first man. He's versatile, and he's just, like I said, in the pocket. You're not going to tackle him one-on-one, whether he was in the phone booth or not. And then Maurice Jones-Drew, this year I banged around a little bit more. I put on a couple more pounds so I can be able to take those hits in that offense. And he's a bowling ball, but he's also a threat to take it all the way. So I say most Maurice Jones-Drew, but Darren Sproles, he's very versatile. He can catch the ball out the backfield. He can return kicks. I like to be able to put myself in a bunch of different areas to, like I said, be able to help the team. At the end of the day, I have to say Maurice Jones-Drew. Yeah.
If I had to put one down for you, I'd put MJD too, because, man, I watched some of your most recent stuff. And, yeah, I noticed after you put on that weight, man, you were a bowling ball just like MJD. But we know you can be just as shifty as Barry. I think a lot of teams would sign up for that right now, a cross between Barry and MJD. So, man, Brett, thanks so much for coming on. I'll pass to Coach.
Hey, Brett, we appreciate you, man. I want to go back to something Coach Williams picked on and ask you a question about your experience coming to our game. What was that like for you getting the invite? And what was it like for you showing up, day one to measurements? What was that like to you?
It was exciting, just getting the opportunity, somebody noticing, what I've done throughout the year, throughout my career. So I was, excited to showcase HBCU football. And then once I got down there, it was all like family. Everybody was greeting each other, ready to compete. And like I said, we competed every day. And just, being able to put out a good product, that I had fun. And like even in the camp, being able to interact with the young kids and stuff like that, just leaving a great, imprint on them about HBCUs, athletes, and just being able to help out.
Yeah. And I guess I'm going to have a question at the end of this, but I would say being smaller backs and things like that, the OC usually at the NFL level is going to be picking who that running back is based on what scheme it is. But you check all the boxes. I mean, run, catch, block, all right? And then, most people call it instincts, but processing speed. When you get the ball in your hand, you're able to process what's happening at the line of scrimmage, get to daylight, get through daylight. Creating your own when nothing is there, and then great combination of quickness to speed, and being able to get in those places, change directions, and enough speed to run away from people. So you check all the boxes, and on top of that, the special teams play. So I don't think anybody's going to be questioning those things. But about the question would be about the passing in the deep ball. Your situation when there's a mismatch, they put you in the slaughter, they put you out wide. Your confidence level. What is your confidence level on deep balls?
I'm very confident. In my training, I do a lot of one-on-ones. I played slot back in high school, so when I get out there, I am comfortable as far as being able to go one-on-one, whether I gotta beat a zone coverage or man-to-man. And then I know as far as my hands, you get the ball in my vicinity, and I'm gonna catch it most of the time. So, being a smaller back, you got to be able to do the small things, whether that's being able to block or being able to get out there, like you say, in the slot. And you may need that first down across the middle. I'm a bigger back. I know I can take that hit coming across the middle. I'm going to make sure I secure the ball, or even going deeper. I feel like I can, my route running, I feel like it's good enough to beat a DB, whether that's a nickel corner or whether that's a linebacker or even a corner safety, anything like that. I'm very confident in myself.
Omar's gonna hate you for this.
I'll just add.
Go ahead, Coach. Go ahead.
No, I think there's a delay. Go ahead, Jackson.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Brett, I was just gonna say Omar's gonna hate me for this because I say it every week on the podcast, but it was the wise Maurice Jones-Drew that once said, as a running back, if you can't catch, you can't play. Brett, you know how to do a little bit of both. So I appreciate you talking about the importance of pass catching.
Oh, yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I just want to add on top of that, Brett, just keep your head up, man. I saw the box, and definitely gonna turn some heads, man. So don't just keep your head up, man. I think you're gonna do some good things, bro.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Stay in touch with us, Brett.
Yep.
Yes, sir. And
Thanks,
I thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to come down to the Pigskin Bowl and, you know, being able to put out a good product for HBCU talent. And I'm gonna always support the Pigskin Showdown. You know, I'm the biggest fan. So yes, sir.
We appreciate you. We one of your biggest fans too, man.
Appreciate it, Brett.
I mean it when I say stay in touch. Let us know what's happening. Needing help with anything, let us know.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Wow, I mean, what an impressive player and just man in general. And there's a lot of warm moments in this podcast already. That last exchange with Brett, it hits me right here. But from a thoroughbred to a hornet, we're bringing out the whole animal kingdom out here. We got Ezra Gray as our next guest, and this is a guy that I know Jackson's excited about. And honestly, if you even casually follow HBCU football, then you know the name Ezra Gray from his performance in the spring last year and just this year across whether it be the HBCU Combine or his performance in the Legacy Bowl as well. So our next guest, Ezra Gray, if he's ready, we'll see.
Wide open, Ezra Gray at the 30 to the 25.
I'm telling you, between Gray and Bell, these are two of the best runners you're going to see in the conference. Gray's got that shape.
You could just tell Ezra Gray was going to have a good game today after what he did against Florida State.
And Ezra Gray is going to be Ezra Gray.
I like the way that Ezra Gray has run the football, lowering his shoulder, not afraid of absorbing contact.
There he is.
Thank you, Ezra, for coming on. Man, that was such a great introduction. I feel bad that we didn't have the highlight film for Brett. No just in the chat. But Ezra, man, we're excited to have you on. Man. What a career for Alabama State out there in Montgomery. And my first question is, you're an all-around playmaker. You've done it all: caught passes, return kicks, took handoffs in the backfield. Like, what is your favorite thing to do? To make plays.
Oh man, first and foremost, I appreciate y'all having me and everything. I just hate that y'all had to put me right behind Brett, because you already know Brett. He a tough act to follow, man. I've been with him the whole time at the HBCU Legacy Bowl. He a great guy, man. I love hanging out with Brett and really just picking his mind on things. But man, I'd have to say the most fun part for me is really just being able to have the ball in my hands when I have some space. Even at Alabama State, they had me running between the tackles a lot, which is cool. I like to make cuts and things like that. But when I'm in a position, where I can really just get rolling and show off my speed and really, just make that one cut and go, I feel like those are the moments that I kind of shine the most.
No, I mean, I totally agree. And I mean, I'm going to take one of Jackson's phrases, he always mentions a guy that's great in space, and that is, definitely an obvious way to put it for you guys. I got to say one thing though, I went to the Turkey Day Classic, to the 4-hour drive from Augusta to Montgomery, and did not get to see you play. So I'm kind of heartbroken over that. But hopefully I'll get to see you at an NFL stadium near me, whenever that time comes to be. So I'll throw it to Coach Grove, and then we'll just go back around counterclockwise with our questions.
Cool.
Yeah, how you doing, brother?
What's going on, Coach Grove?
I don't know, man. We got to talk for a brief at the game when you were down there. And on top, I'd just like to start off with your experience, man. We know how you came down and were allowed to come and have interviews with the scouts and whatnot. What was your experience like getting the invite to come down? And
It was most definitely a humbling experience for me. Even with me being kind of bruised up and banged up from the season, you guys were still had mercy on me and still allowed me to come to the bowl game and being able to interact with the scouts as well as the rest of the players, and really just the way we were treated there. Everybody was treated with respect. We weren't we weren't treated as second class players or something like that of that nature. We were really at a bowl game. And I definitely enjoyed the opportunity there. And while I was there, just being able to network and connect with a lot of scouts who have they came to games to see me throughout the season, but they were at the bowl, scouting all the surplus of talent that you guys have brought out there. Me just being able to network a little bit and talk with them so they could get to know more about me, not only as a player, but as a person, and, I felt like I made a lot of great connections while I was out there. So with you guys putting on a platform like that, it's something, a blessing to have. I couldn't really ask for much more than that.
Man, that's pretty awesome. Glad to hear that, man. We appreciate it. The second question would be, you got all the attributes. We can talk all day about speed, quickness of speed, and I'll ask you a similar question as I asked Brett. When you talk about putting you in the slot or putting you out as a receiver, what's your comfort level with the deep ball? I see they throw you the ball. You can't catch, you can run, and you block. You're not afraid of contact. And both of you guys possess all those things with the processing skills out of the backfield, creating your own way when there's no way, making a decision to go for three, even though that three is through two or three other people, rather than take a loss. So comfortability as a back that has the speed that you have downfield on a deep ball, what's your comfort level?
Not sure if we're experiencing some technical difficulties.
Ezra, did you hear it? Yeah, we must be. Somebody see if they can get him.
All right, so we'll try to work with Ezra right here, but I guess he said he can't hear. Okay. Well, while we try to figure that out, so I guess continuing this discussion with Ezra Gray. So sort of who's your pro comparison? We did this last week with each of the players that appeared. So what is your pro comparison of Ezra Gray? And for me, this might be a cop out, might be an easy one. He's going to try to come back in, so might be an easy one. So I think I see Tariq Cohen in Ezra Gray, just a diminutive back, really explosive, returns kicks, great in space. And I think it's an easy comparison too, where, a lot of teams want that type of human joystick type player on their team. And hopefully Tariq Cohen finds his footing with another team, which I'm certainly sure that he will.
Absolutely. That's where I went with it, Jackson. I was asked, that was my, excuse me, not Jackson, Omar. That was my exact comparison, was Tariq Cohen. Cohen, man, now granted, Ezra is a little bit bigger than Tariq Cohen. Now I think now he's still got potential to put on some weight to his body. I think he's still a guy that probably, when he gets into the NFL, is probably gonna want to land himself in that 190, 195 pound area there. But he can do all of the same things. I think if anybody's missing, on him and the comparison to a Tariq Cohen, then I think they're missing the boat. I was looking at the film today. So I went back and I watched Tariq Cohen's film. Then I come back and I watch Ezra's film, and I don't see a whole lot of difference, man. They're both making plays the same types of ways, kick game plays, out of the backfield reception plays, running inside and getting on the edge type running style. And both guys, are very, very comparable to each other. I think if an NFL team is looking, if you got to be looking at HBCU guys who have had success at the next level, then I don't see how you're not looking at an Ezra Gray. I'm not saying they're not, but I'm just saying, for me, it popped off the screen so eloquently today. And I just say, this is a guy that probably could do the same type of thing. Gets in the right situation, he can probably be that guy that has a 5-year plus type NFL career. I think he's, as much as I say Brett was the most productive guy, as much as I have said that Kingston Davis is a pro style body guy. I mean, I think that Ezra Gray is about as well rounded of a guy when it comes to being able to play at the next level as we have seen in a long time. So I'm excited and hoping some people, give him the opportunity he deserves.
Yes, we have Ezra back, and I mean, I hope you're able to hear our comparisons. We compared you to Tariq Cohen. So hopefully you heard that. We saved that segment we were going to save it for later, but of course you had to improvise. Like Randall Cunningham on a scramble. But yeah, so I guess we'll go back to questions. Coach Grove, I believe you were asking the last question.
Just for the sake of time, Ezra, what I was trying to get at with everything that you do on the field with the electrifying speed, the vision, the processing speed, all those things you do, special teams, and matching you up against, people, in the Power Fives, and you're talking about running up against an Auburn or running up against a Florida State. When they put you in the pass game, how do you feel, and what is your comfort level when it comes to the deep ball in the passing game? How do you feel at that, as that part of your game?
Oh, I feel very confident in it. Coming out of high school and everything, I was an athlete pretty much, but I played most of my work at defensive back and receiver in high school. And actually, when I got to Alabama State, initially I was in the receiver room. I thought I was going to be with the receivers when we reported there in the summer. But when all the coaches got there, they said, nah, Ezra, we really want you at running back. So, of course, I obliged to that. But I knew a transition period like this would be inevitable with my size not fitting the exact prototypical NFL running back size. I knew a lot of my money would be made playing in other positions like special team and out wide in the slot as well. So throughout all the off seasons, I would always work on my route running. I've always had pretty good routes, natural hands, speed to throttle down and adjust myself. But really working with some of the receivers and the coaches on our staff, I felt like it helped me become that much better when it comes to the technical side of things. As far as, like little things, getting in and out of your breaks, making precise cuts, and realizing how to utilize the speed. I've always been a fast guy, but one thing that I really couldn't control was the speed of my routes. I was wondering why sometimes the timing would be off with the quarterback kind of throwing the ball behind me and different things of that nature and stuff like that. But then I realized, you got to throttle the speed and know when to use it. So just different things like that. I felt like my game it helped my game evolve over time. So as far as catching deep balls and things like that, man, that's what I do. That's my wheelhouse. So it's good to see that I'm being acknowledged as being able to play at receiver as well and not just in the backfield.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. It pays dividends, and I would like to congratulate you on the academic side as well, man. The carry a 4.0 through college is pretty awesome.
I appreciate that, Coach.
Yeah, I'm good, folks.
I just got this. I'm gonna add this one on because we just talked about the comparison to Tariq Cohen. Although I feel like you're bigger than he is, but I think as far as height, I think you're taller than he is. But I would ask you, what's your feel, from being at our game and having a chance to network to actually going down and being in front of guys working out at the HBCU Legacy Bowl? What feel for what teams are thinking? Do you feel like people, are kind of understanding what you can do and what you can bring to a team?
Oh, most definitely. And it's crazy because a lot of the scouts that I saw at the Pigskin Showdown, some of the same scouts I saw at the Legacy Bowl as well as the HBCU Combine. So being able to get to talk to them, it was less of them being able to just meet me and more of a, hey, what I'm saying, Ezra, how's it going? How are things going in training and things like that? What can we expect to see from you and things of that nature? And really just talking to the scouts and getting a good feel for them. All of it is a matter of, the numbers that I put up at this pro day. They've seen me participate in the season on the field. They've seen me showcase a little bit of things at the HBCU Combine as well. And then they got to see a little bit more of what I could do at the Legacy Bowl throughout the week of practice. But, now's the pro day. Now it's like the make it or break it time. So they're evaluating a lot of stuff for me. The main thing they want to see, of course, is the 40-yard dash. But another thing they want to see is, how can I perform under pressure? When it's a moment like this, guys, this is, like I like to say, this is probably the biggest job interview you'll have in your life. And me being able to go and showcase what I can do in front of them will really just be a validation to the thoughts that they already kind of have of me. He's a fast guy. He seems to be able to catch the ball pretty well out of the backfield, but I want to show how I can really do in my route running in the slot as well. So throughout my training, that's really what I've been doing at Chip Smith Sports over there in Georgia. I've been coached with Tavares Kings, one of the best of the best, coming out of Georgia, and he really just nailed down in our heads, we made it to this point for a reason, and I firmly believe that God hasn't brought me this far to leave me, and his will really is going to be done on that pro day. So it's really no pressure on me. It's all a matter of going out and having fun and just showcasing what I can do.
That's absolutely right. Good luck with that. That was going to be my last question, was who you're training with. And so since you told us that, what are you working on the most with those guys?
Oh man, we've been doing a lot of resistance training when it comes to the speed aspect of things. Some of the bands he has, and it's crazy because Coach Chip Smith, I know they say he's the godfather of the NFL combine workouts and stuff like that, but like some of the stuff like he like created, which was crazy to me. Like he has some type of resistance bands that I really can't even describe, that were kind of like connected to the wall when I came in there, and like day one, he was out there dogging us like day one, like it had a real good warm up, and we got straight to work. So really just being able to train around the guys that I was training with, I trained with a couple of HBCU players as well. James Houston was over there, Akil Glass was over there, Lamar Bridges, we were all over there. And that is just something about the HBCUs. It's just that camaraderie. It's like it's just different, and with us being over there, of course, we trained with a lot of pro guys as well that gave us a lot of pointers and tips on what we should be doing. But the main emphasis was on making sure we were really in the best shape of our lives. And with us training, that hard, of course, I had a couple of like nicks and kind of nagging soft tissue injuries, but now I feel fine. I feel healthy. And now I'm back home training with my speed coaching trainer that I use back home. So at this point now, like I said, it's just that throttling down the calm before the storm.
That's right. That's right. Go ahead, Jackson. I'm taking up your question time.
No problem, Coach. Ezra, first of all, thanks so much for coming on. Ezra, I don't know if you saw Travis Hunter, the number 1 overall recruit of this recruiting cycle, committed over Florida State, where he was previously committed, and of course a bunch of other Power 5 schools. You actually did it before it was a trend, though. We're seeing a bunch of these guys who's at HBCUs. Man, you had offers from Oregon, Boston College, USF. What went into you choosing Alabama State and an HBCU over some of these Power 5 schools?
Oh man, Alabama State. It was actually a crazy story how I even ended up at Alabama State. It initially started, Cleo. It initially started, with my my official visit. Coach Alan Suber at the time was the coach recruiting me, and I believe I was supposed to go on an official visit to South Carolina State. And I called Coach Suber, had called me, and then I talked to him, and then he was like, "Oh no, man, you coming to Alabama State, man? We need you here right now. Like Coach Jenkins, like he's expecting you to be here." And then I'm just kind of like, "Coach, how y'all gonna tell me, where I'm gonna be?" But then, then I got to the point I was like, you know what, y'all want me there that bad, man. It's obviously a good sign, like that they really want me. So I was like, I talked to my parents about it, and they were like, why not just go ahead and take your official there, and then with South Carolina State, you could take that another time. So then I told the coach, I'll be there. So the next day I was there, and the official visit, it just blew me away. The guys that I was visiting with, like who were in my class coming in, we all kind of had that same mindset. Like, yeah, we have vision to what's going on. The HBCUs aren't big right now, but we're gonna be in the position to really turn this thing up and make it big and go out here, and make something of ourselves from the school. So we all kind of had like minds going into it, and throughout our time at Alabama State, pretty much like that's exactly what we did. But as far as going into my decision, it felt like home. It was down south, and I love the weather down south. And talking to Coach Jenkins, he really had an impact on my life. Just talking to him, and he understanding, him being a Florida boy himself too. He kind of understood, my lingo and the way to come at me and things like that, and I could really respect that. And my family, they had a good perception of Alabama State's program as well, and the facilities was top notch. They Alabama State has wonderful facilities. So when I went there, it just felt like home. So I said, why not choose this place that treats me as a 5-star rather than kind of go somewhere and be tolerated as just another guy. So Alabama State, they like me, and they wanted me to play right away. So I said, why not?
I love it, man. That's awesome. You get to play on day one, and they clearly had a vision for how they were going to use you, which is awesome. And Ezra, you have thrived at Alabama State. I'm sure glad you chose them over anyone else. I can't imagine a better result anywhere else. Man, I'm always fascinated in the draft process with guys that have played multiple sports in high school. I know on this show that's something we're really big on, that, hey, if you are in high school right now, play multiple sports. It really helps you. Man, you lettered in track and field and weightlifting in high school. I'm curious, your multi-sport experience, what maybe contributed the most to your success in the football field from other sports?
Growing up, I'm really in a big sports-oriented family. My dad, he went to state in track and field for the I think the 100-meter and the high jump. My brother, he's a 5-star running back. I think like the number 2 running back in the nation when he was coming out. And then another brother, he was a DB at Troy before going on to play for the Detroit Lions, and then spending some time in the CFL as well. And it's really just kind of been like instinct. God's really blessed us with a lot of different talents, gifts, and abilities, but sports was just one of the things that we shined at the most, and really just happened to really love. So when I got to high school, it wasn't more so a matter of, okay, I'm gonna do this in order to get better at football in this area, that area, but it was really my love of the sport. Growing up, I played baseball as well, but I didn't, I wasn't fortunate enough opportunity to be able to have the time to play it in high school. But I do feel like all of those sports kind of played a role in my whole athletic makeup, because it's some things that are just different, I believe, when you see certain guys who thrive on the football field. And when I say that, I kind of mean the fact that a guy's a football player, and then a guy who's like an athlete. And you can really see that on the field. Like, even when it comes to receivers, when you see in the way that a receiver will high point a football and different things like that, you can tell, okay, he probably plays basketball as well. And just different things like that. I thought about it after the fact, after the recruiting process, like, hey, these sports have really helped me, help my all around game. But at the time, I was just looking at it as like, hey, man, I just love these sports.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome. You're doing it for the love of the sport that you're playing, and it certainly helps you in the field and brings a lot of diversity in your background into your skill set, right? That's awesome. And Ezra, thanks so much for coming on. I'm a Bucks fan. I'm getting a little nervous that we haven't signed Lenny, so if you find yourself safe jersey to buy, I think. So.
Oh, man, that boy Brady just came back too, man.
Right? Yeah, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ezra. We appreciate you. My mother's an Alabama State grad, so we always pulling for you Hornet guys, man.
Yes, Alabama State.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you, Ezra. And I appreciate using this platform to share your testimony for the Lord. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man, I appreciate y'all having me. As soon as y'all reached out, I already knew no brainer. Like, I'm coming on the show, like, whether I have to train or not, I'm coming. Like, I actually just got back from training, but I had to make sure I came back on the show to show some support to y'all, man. So I appreciate everything that y'all have done for us, the platform you guys have provided us with, and even Coach Williams and Coach Grove, y'all talking to me and helping me understand, this whole Pigskin Showdown isn't about a competition of we want to be the biggest HBCU platform, but it's more about the players, getting the players at the most exposure that they can get. Now I really appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart, everything y'all done for us.
Appreciate you saying that. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck, young fella.
Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you.
Yep.
With that, another impressive guest, and we still got two more, man. We've been going for 40 minutes. We still got two more guests. Told you it was a jam-packed session. Our next guest. I guess before going to our next guest, we're improvising a bit and doing the pro comparisons. Jackson, I know that you had a pro comparison for Ezra Gray. I want to know what it is.
Actually, no, I did not.
Oh,
I was
not okay.
In my pro comparison, I was actually going to say I'm having a hard time finding one because he's such a unique player. He ran a 4.31 40 in high school, which is ridiculous for a running back. He, like I previously mentioned, he lettered in track and field and weightlifting. He's a low mileage back, only had 100 carries last year, Omar. Like, that's something you look at, especially at that position. And he does not have a lot of wear and tear on him. He's phenomenal as a kick returner. It got called back because of a penalty, but against Auburn, so SEC competition, he had a kick return for a touchdown.
Yeah, touchdown.
So, yeah. So, man, he's a little bit of everything. And just like he is on the shorter side for a running back. He's 5'9", I believe, so a little bit taller. But, man, phenomenal kick returner. Like I said, low mileage. He is fast. He's strong. Man, there's nothing not to like about him. And, man, that was music to my ears. We was talking about he knew in high school the importance of special teams and playing as a slot receiver, as a running back. That's stuff you can't teach. That's motivation to teach. And, man, I can't wait. He is going to be a playmaker in August and a solid contributor, I believe, in the league from there on.
Yeah. I mean, he can write his ticket as a returner, and that's no doubt. Like, right now today, kick return, punt returns, he can write his ticket today, I believe. That's my belief for him. He can write his ticket. We mention
it. I absolutely. We mention it every week. There's only 53 spots. You have to be a contributor on special teams unless you're like a first-round pick or something. Man, he's got that. That's no concern. And pass protecting, too. Another thing he's great at.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that, Jackson, on the pro comparisons, but great answer. That I mean, he is one of a kind player, and I hope he gets a chance. I really do hope he gets a chance. So for our next guest, our last player, we have a man on the defensive side of the ball. It's about time we brought in some defense. We were talking a little bit about this before the podcast, but a guy that started off at Tennessee State, they finished strong for the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State. And I'm not sure if we have a highlight video for Jeremiah Kane, so I guess we'll just sit.
Everything changed. I ain't thought I was gone, but I ain't never went nowhere. I'm coming back with more pain and more pain and more pain, you know. Ever since a kid, I've been the man. Pray to God, I knew he was gonna save me. Chill me over everything, one nation. Ride for my people, no question, no hesitation. Stay down, God, change my situation. Walking to the gym, playing ball on the daily. Nigga want a problem with that, see me, they don't say shit. Nigga told me he gon' shake the spot, ain't gon' shake shit off.
And man, yeah, we did have a highlight film turned out. And Jeremiah, we're glad to have you on. Thank you for coming on. I gotta say, like my one question, and this is something that astounded me. I looked at your bio, and all the All-Star Game and Showcase appearances were like listed in block form. It looked like the credits of a movie. You were like the James Brown of All-Star Game and Gridiron Showcases, playing in 8 of them. And if I lost count, please forgive me because it was a lot. So I guess what was your mindset and what willpower drove you through playing in 8 of these All-Star Games and working out in these showcases?
I played in a total of 5 of them, and it was just a blessing from God. So I just looked at it like God put the opportunities in my life for a reason. So I took advantage of all of them and took the same approach just to dominate. That's the only thing that I think about is just to dominate what is in the weight room, on the field, classroom, and in life. I just want to be dominant. I just want to always be the best I can be. And it just showed, and I'm just grateful for God allowing me to be able to stand out as much as I did at these different bowl games, and not to be able to overcome the different trials and tribulations that people was telling me that comes with playing multiple bowl games, like you get hurt or this, or it was a lot of negativity when I first was telling people I was gonna play in every bowl game that invited me, and they was just like, normally people only playing 1 or 2 bowl games, but I was just telling them like, my faith in God is stronger than anything, and I get on my knees every night asking Him to protect me. So I was never worried about anything like that. So it's a blessing that I did play in all of them because it put me on the map. So it's a blessing from God.
Well, Jeremiah, I appreciate you taking this time with that answer to bring glory to the Lord. Really appreciate it. But yeah, I gotta say, like, I mean, in terms of like injury concerns, like, was that even a concern at all? Like was there at least one play where you thought, man, like, would I get myself into playing 5 All-Star games?
Never, not even a doubt. Like once I say my prayer before I get on that field and ask God to, put His protection over, give me His most strongest angel and stuff like that, I don't worry about it. I don't have no worry. I'm just thinking about how to dominate this next play, how to dominate this next rep, how to dominate this next bowl game. So I just took that approach with every aspect in my life, even to the interviews, like how to dominate the interviews after practice. When you have a dominant day, they want to meet with you at nighttime. So I took that approach in every aspect when it came to the bowl game. It's paid off. I'm still in shock that a lot of things happened the way it did, and I just know it's God. That's the only thing I can say.
Absolutely, Jeremiah. Man, like talk about durability. Being a strong point. I mean, that certainly is on the top of your list as a prospect. So I'll throw it to my co-host for questions, starting with Coach Williams and going clockwise.
All right. Jeremiah, we appreciate you doing this for us, man.
It's a blessing and an honor.
That's right. It's an honor for us to have you. I got to start off by telling you I got some family down there in Columbus, Mississippi. I've been going to Columbus, Mississippi for a lot of years, man. And I'm gonna tell you, football. Me being a football guy, I'm always trying to keep up with football in Columbus, and it's not a whole lot of football history coming out of Columbus. So, guys get sidetracked with other things. But I got to ask you, man, for the dog mentality that I see you play with. I gotta figure out where that mentality is coming from, man. For you to play in these All-Star games, for you to go in that last season at Mississippi Valley State with 1 year to prove yourself, lead the team in tackles, and me knowing what that football is in Columbus, I gotta know, man, where does that dog mentality come from? Where you get it from?
It's just me seeing the choices that others has made and the circumstances that they have put themselves into, and me noticing how blessed I am for the people that I went to school with and people that I knew that I looked up to, that they made mistakes along the way, that they feel like they live their life with regret, a lot of regret. So that's one thing I always said. I never want to live my life with regret. I was going to play every play like it was my last. I'm going to just dominate and just. So it was just me going back home and seeing the different type of struggles and the different type of mindset that individuals was in, and it just put fuel to my fire to make me just want to, okay, I know this is my way out. So I need to put all my efforts and just stay prayed up, and hopefully I can better my circumstance for me and my family. So it was just me going home and seeing the different type of individuals at home that I know, like, that had all the potential in the world, but didn't either take advantage of their opportunities or got sidetracked. It was just a lot that I've seen, and I just took advantage of my blessings. So
that's right. Now coming out of making that transition from Tennessee State, I mean, were you thinking, I'm trying to put myself in the best position, to get a look from the league? Because I mean, from the time you stepped on the campus at Mississippi Valley, you was running it from the time that you stepped on the campus. You had to be thinking something about, I'm trying to go to the league this year. Is that what was in your mind?
Yes, sir. I was looking to go into a program that not just wanted me, because I had a lot of teams that wanted me. I wanted to go into a program that needed me. And Valley showed me and showed the most interest in me, that gave me that feeling like they need me. They because I know what I'm gonna do. I know what I can bring to the table. I know my mindset. I know how my mindset affects others. Because not only did I had also helped Valley change their mindset. Like I done had meetings with the teams after practice multiple times. Like without the coach even telling me, just letting them know that they're good enough. Like even if you is a walk on, even if Valley only have 20 scholarships compared to other teams have 55 or 85 full scholarships, I was just telling them, God put us in this position to show that a scholarship doesn't matter. It's two men, it's human beings on this field. So you're not telling me that this person that's on the other team or the person that's right in front of you that you have to go against is just so much better than you that you can't compete with them. So it all started with a mindset change. Like once the mind and we started believing that we compete with the best, you see that this year that we gave the teams that we was predicted to lose by 40 points or 21 points, and we only lost by 3 points or 7 points at the last drive of the game. So it was just little things like that that I believe that now Valley actually believe that you can be a SWAC championship type team. You don't have to lose every game. You can win. You compete with the best. You compete with anybody, and we showed that this year. So it was just a blessing to come and help the coaches and to help the individuals and the athletes around me to just believe. That was my ultimate goal, was to just get everyone to believe in yourself, believe in God. As long as you got God, it doesn't matter. Everything else gonna fall in line. So
that's right.
It was
100% behind you on that. I mean, I'm gonna ask one more question and let these other guys jump in here. But are you starting to see the fruits of your labor? I mean, is talking to the teams between our game and folks at the combine, at the Legacy Bowl. I mean, you starting to see that everything you've been through is worth it.
Yes, sir. I'm starting to realize, like I talk to my agent a lot, and he tells me that coaches call all the time, and he got me set up. Shout out to my Rosenbatch agency. He hooked me up nice. He got me set up in Atlanta. I work out with Hammersmith Sports, which is Coach Chuck Smith and Chip Smith. So they combine together. So I work out with a lot of different HBCU players, a lot of NFL players, Canadian league players, like a lot of different caliber of athletes. So it's just a blessing to be around those type of coaches. And I work out 4 times a day, and I've never been in this. I don't think I've ever been this good in shape as I am right now. So I just give those coaches a shout out, because I also have a sprint specialist, Coach Zay and Coach JL. They helped me with my first 10 yards of my 40. They really emphasized that and just helping me with my run form, like teaching me how to run, because the programs that I went to, they taught us how to run, but it wasn't emphasized as much. Like I'm a bigger type guy, so I didn't grow up playing or grow up running track or anything like that. So I had to learn how to run from square one, and I'm just glad that these coaches has poured their heart into me, and these different type of specialists have taught me and teach me and molded me to the point where, like Coach Chuck say all the time, like once he done training, you'll be able not only to set these different drills up, but also to coach it, because he has instilled it in you. And we work so much pass rush and so much agility and movement drills. Nice. So it's just a blessing to work out with NFL legends, and it's great connections that you make just by being in that atmosphere. So it's just all a blessing. Like, it's just a blessing.
That's right. I'm glad all this stuff is happening for you, man, for sure. You're going to make Columbus proud, for sure. No doubt about that.
Oh, yes, sir. That's the goal.
Fellas, y'all jump on in there.
Jeremiah, you are coming from a long line of HBCU defensive lineman legends. There's Michael Strahan, Hugh Douglas, Richard Dent. And if we're expanding to the front seven, we don't even have time on this show to talk about all the backers from HBCUs. What kind of confidence does that give you, knowing, like I said, the long lines of linemen that have been so productive in the league of time?
It just gives me all the confidence that if they can do it, you can do it. And it's just like, it's all about putting in the work. That's one thing that you can't hide, and you can't cheat yourself. Is putting in the work, staying humble, and it's just about working and crafting and perfecting your craft. And once you perfect your craft, that's what you get paid for. You get paid to have your craft perfected. So just to look up to those different type of defensive linemen like Richard Den, and I love John Randall and Lawrence Taylor, Aaron Donald, Julius Peppers, Dwight Freeney. I can just name them all because I just like watching the top 10 sack leaders and just to try to mimic their game the best as I can. So it's all a blessing to see people that already done paved the way for me. I just have to follow the system and don't cheat it. You can't cheat the system. So
Absolutely. Yeah, like you said, you can't cheat hard work, and you're putting a lot of that in right now. I'm curious. You said you're working out in Atlanta right now as you're preparing for the draft. Kind of how are you dividing your time, or how do your trainers have you dividing your time between, I guess, strength, technique, and get off, right? Kind of how are they looking at that right now?
Okay, so like my time is divided. So basically, my first workout every day started at 9:30. So it'll be from 9:30 to like 11 o'clock. I work out with Coach Chuck Smith and Coach Dez. They are my pass rush specialists and D-line Pacific drills specialists that help me with my combine training and my pro day training. So I do that for an hour and 30 minutes. So right after that, they all share a same facility. So right after that, I work out with Coach Chip Smith starting at 11 o'clock. So that's when I do most of my speed and agility, a lot of band work, a lot of Coach Chip. Then he created so many different type of like bands and different type of resistant bands that you wouldn't even be able to imagine. Like he went to Russia probably like 10, 20 years ago, and he just learned like how do the Russians train. Like at that point in time, they was winning the Olympics so much. So he brought a lot of their culture back to the United States to here. And I could tell the difference of me going through his program. Like I wish I was able to do this because I see a lot of high schools come in. I wish I had the knowledge or was from Atlanta where I knew like I need to just come and work out with Coach Chuck and Coach Chip Smith. So I can be one step ahead of where I am now. So it's just like small things like that. And so I work out with him from 11 to, it's all about an hour and 30 minutes workout a piece. So it'd be from like 11 to about 12:30, 1 o'clock. So at 1 o'clock, that's when I start my strength training. So they like to do my strength training last, so you can already be kind of tired. That way you can get the most out of your reps. And, that way when you do, like when pro day come up and you do your 225 bench press, you're so used to doing it while you done did it after 2 workouts. When you do it fresh, it's going to be like, everything's going to be easier. So it's just about being in shape and keeping the tempo up. And so I work out with strength training be about an hour, 50 minutes at the least. So right after that, I take a break, eat lunch, and I have my sprint. I go to my sprint specialist, Coach Z and Coach JL, and I work out with them, and they work on just specifically my first 10 yards and how to run, and from square one for me, just learning how to move my hands right, how to swing my hands right, or how to get into a track stance. Like they just showed me from ground zero, like one-on-one training, like how to basically run. So that's one thing that I have learned. And then it's just all these great specialists and coaches combined, they can just turn me into a monster. I'm ready to show it. Like on pro day, I'm doing my pro day at Jackson State on the 21st. So it's just all a blessing, and I'm just ready to show like how much this training has paid off, and it's just ready to cash in.
That's right.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome, man. If you keep doing the sprint specialist every afternoon, man, you're gonna be looking like Jordan Davis out there on that pro day.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Jordan Davis motivated me. He motivated me, especially when I seen his 10-yard split.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I'm hitting them 10-yard splits like that every day. So it just he didn't set the bar for me. So now I gotta create a new bar. So it's I'm just ready.
Jeremiah, one last question for you. You went to Mississippi Valley State. How long did Coach Dancy get in this recruiting pitch to you before he mentioned Jerry Rice?
Man, that was the first thing, he mentioned was, Jerry Rice. This is home of Jerry Rice. And Coach Dancy, I knew from the first conversation that I had with Coach Dancy that he was more than just a head coach, or he was more than just a coach. I looked like he was actually a real mentor, someone I can look up to, that I can actually see myself doing what he doing in 10 to 20 years after I spend after I lived my professional career. So like Coach Dancy, it was just a blessing to meet someone that age that's a head coach for a big time Division I program, big time Division I conference. So it was just a blessing to meet Coach Dancy. But yes, Jerry Rice, that is what you call the GOAT. He's the GOAT. And Mississippi Valley loves him. Everywhere you go is Jerry Rice. And my coach Willie Time was his quarterback, so he gonna make sure that you don't forget about their run that they had at Valley. So
absolutely. Well, hey, you said you're working out with Jackson State. Can't wait to look at those pro day results. I'm sure you'll do awesome, man. Can't wait.
Oh yes, sir.
All right, Kane, for the sake of time, man, we thank you for coming, man. And I got a story you need to confirm or validate. When I got out of Marine Corps, I went to play for UAB back in 93, 94. Doc Hilliard was a coach, man. He just passed not too long ago. It was the first year UAB was an independent Division I think it was the first year they were in. We went to Valley State, and driving into Itabena, the school just shows up in between cotton fields, right? So we got there, halftime, the water that was used, you had to tell me this because you were at Tennessee State. The water that was used that came out of the spigot was like thick and like had a texture to it. Is that the case still in Mississippi Valley? Is the water that comes out the spigot now? I'm not talking about the bottle, the spigot. We had to change our whole Gatorade thing. It ruined it all. Is that still that way if it comes out like in a thick sludge?
They upgraded that. They had to upgrade that one.
All right. So some people thought I would be telling stories when I told that story, but that's what I can remember from that one. But the water was really, really, really thick, and we had to get something else for Gatorade. So that's one piece of being in Itabena, Mississippi for a minute. But
Itabena, Mississippi, you welcomed yourself to cotton fields and back to a lot of nothing, just a lot of land. But it's nothing out here. It's easy for you to stay focused out here, but it's nothing out here.
Have you had many conversations with the president, Mississippi Valley State?
I had a couple conversations with him, especially during this process. He's been showing a lot of support, and he's been reaching out to me on social media. So I had a couple conversations with him, and I was also a professor at Mississippi Valley State last semester too for my intern. So I had a couple meetings with him also. So it was just
all right, pretty good guy. You got the Beta Theta bros and Beta Rope guys up there. You
with them guys. You got them all. You got every type of fraternity and sorority that you could think of up here in Valley.
All right, so let's go back to the event when you get the invitation for us and everybody that we're bringing on, kind of asking this question. When you walked in day one, what was that like? From getting the invitation to actually showing up, what was your thought process from the invitation to showing up day one to measurements with scouts in the room?
When I got the invitation, I was so honored because it was in the middle of the season. And if I'm not mistaken, was the Pigskin, it was like the second bowl game that I had received at the time. So I was so excited, and I had told all my teammates about it, and I was just telling them like, man, we got to all play in this Pigskin Bowl. It's a new bowl, and it's a great opportunity to go out there and showcase your talent. So I was just happy for y'all to even pick me and choose me out of everyone else. So I was just grateful for that opportunity. And the first day when I got there and I seen all those scouts, all I was thinking about was, okay, Kane, you need to hit some push-ups. You gotta pad that look test. You know, I walk in there, it looked like it's about 20, 30 scouts in the room sitting down with taking notes or whatever they were doing. So I got kind of nervous, but you know, that comes with the process. But
yeah,
I was just happy to be there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Glad to hear that, bro. Last one out of this, and make it real quick. Like, what I see is a big guy that, you know, from your stance, you keep your vision in the backfield. Not a lot of people do that. You're always working, especially on pass plays, working to see what's in the backfield, always working your way around our offensive lineman. You know what I mean? So, and you move laterally well. And I don't know if that's what you get from Tennessee State or what you get from Mississippi Valley State, or if playing basketball in high school has a lot to do with your ability as a 6'3", 290 to be able to move laterally and then pursue, you know, for a big guy. So my question to you about that, because you play from 0 to 5, right? 0 technique to 5,
yes,
right?
Sir.
And it seems like in the tape that the coordinator or the head coach is confident with swinging you around in stunts to the outside and without you losing contain at that size. So what is your bread and butter? Is it your preference would be to be a 0 guy, 2 gap guy, or, you know, a guy with a single gap responsibility?
I would like to be a single gap responsibility, 3 technique.
Yes, sir.
But I can play it all. I can play 2 gaps. I can play the edge. I like playing the edge. I like playing the 5 technique and the 3 technique just because you get more one-on-one. So when I was at the nose a lot, I had to take on a lot of double teams and stuff like that. So the ultimate goal for me is try to create a one-on-one. So it's easier just to create a one-on-one at the 3 technique and the 5 technique. So, but any position that a NFL coach asks me to play, I'm gonna play it. So that's why I put it on film to let them know that I can play it. I can play 1 gap, 2 gap. I can stunt. I can just do it all. Whatever you need me to do, I can do it, coach. So that's the type of player I am. So whatever the team needs. So basically,
you still at 290 right now?
295.
All right, 295. So 3 technique is probably gonna be your home place on that NFL side, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on, man.
It's just
thank you, Jeremiah.
And thank you for giving me this opportunity to come on and to be able to just show my gratitude for y'all giving me the opportunity to even be at the first HBCU Pigskin Bowl. So I just want to say thank you to you, all of y'all, for everything you have done for me and everyone that's at a HBCU.
Happy to hear you say that. And man, we just so proud of you, man. And trust me, we watching every step of the way. We pulling for you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I gotta say, Jeremiah, I'm not sure that the Itabena Board of Tourism is gonna be happy with your comments in the city. So we'll try to edit those out. But
he said, Omar, he said they upgraded it. So I mean, that was a positive thing. They upgraded.
Oh yeah, they upgraded it.
Yeah.
He also prefaced that with a whole lot of nothing too. So I mean, we'll edit that part out.
Hey, if you do a Google search and get the satellite version, I mean, Itabena is what it is. There's really nothing there but the school. You know?
Yeah, nothing. That's what Itabena
there's a lot of land.
Itabena is Mississippi Valley.
That's all they need.
It's probably Itabena is probably a 5-mile stretch.
Yeah.
So, very, very small city. So
yeah, but those some of the best places to be in places like that. So
you get the best food there too. So
yeah, they gotta do something to attract the kids. So yeah, food is top of the list, right?
Oh yes, sir. Good soul food.
That's all right.
Yeah, thanks again, Jeremiah. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you, softening the blow that you'd have been at the end. But yeah, no, thanks for coming on again, and yeah, we really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night now.
You too. Have a good one.
Yep.
All right, so we're 70 minutes in. We still got one more guest, and we got one of the coaches of the Pigskin Showdown. I forgot what team won, but he was the winning coach. We got Coach John Downing from Edward Waters University. Now, I don't think we have any highlight films of Coach Downing getting fired up on the sideline. That would be hilarious if we did. We had his best fist pumps on the sideline, but we don't have a highlight film, so. We're ready for Coach Downing. There he is. I'm not sure if you heard that, Joe.
That would be pretty sweet. That would be pretty sweet.
Hey,
how's it going, fellas? How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Thank you.
Good. Coach Williams, Coach Grove, thanks for having me on. Omar, Jackson, I just want to thank you guys also for just you guys doing this show and all the way you're spotlighting. What a tremendous event this is, and of course, Coach Groves, Coach Williams for putting it on. Before we get started, I got an interesting anecdote about that guy who just got off. Big Kane, I love that guy. I mean, I love all these kids, but Kane is my guy. And at halftime, he came up to me and he said, Coach, he goes, we got your back. They're not going to cross the 50 again. And save for that fumble we had when we tried to put it away, they didn't. So the man makes a statement, and I think he had I don't know. I have to watch the film again, but I know he had a sack and a couple tackles for loss after he said that. So, it's fun to keep in touch with these guys and their stories and be a part of their stories for a weekend.
Absolutely, Coach. I mean, that's what coaching's all about for sure. I got one question for you before I pass it on to my co-host. But I mean, Coach, I remember being on the field when you conducted your post-victory interview. Must be great to be undefeated in All-Star games. You should be like Jeff Fisher and just do that the rest of your life, just coaching All-Star games. But I remember you said, if it were up to me, everyone would get a contract. That motivated me. I wanted to strap on the pads too and try to get a contract myself. But I guess. What was your approach during the week in coaching the players and I guess developing them for their big opportunity coming up in the spring, of course, with the NFL draft?
I love these games for that reason. And you had a nod to my record. I wish it was undefeated, but we're 2-1 as head, 3-1 overall. But it's different in a regular season scrimmage or even practicing and scripting for this because your segments have to be so efficient, on point, in and out of everything. You have to cover everything. So, of course, your playbook has to be somewhat vanilla for these kids to understand it. And I think that our win, my hats go off to Coach Barlow. He's been, a head coach in the collegiate level since 2006, 2007. But I think that speaks to how difficult it is to coach in one of these things because it's not like a regular season practice where if you don't cover a certain situation or things like that, you can just hit it tomorrow. You only get 2 practices and really a helmet's only walkthrough with these kids. So you have to have coaches that understand that are efficient in the way they get things done. I carry a tight-knit group of guys. Half my staff have done it with me every time I've head coached one. So this is our 3rd time, and we like to think we have it down to a science at this point as far as efficiency. And then the other guys, some of the new guys that coach with me was a Super Bowl champion, coaching quarterbacks, and a former NFL coach coaching linebackers. So they understand what it takes to play at a high level and how to implement a game plan in such a short amount of time. So, it's a combination of things. Really, you have to have a certain amount of factors that all kind of roll into that. And then you got to be able to work great together, and like I said, that's why I try to keep a consistent staff and guys who have been together and who have done it with me. And then talking to Coach Williams and Coach Grove when I came in, when I interviewed to be able to do this and head coach this, that was one of my selling points of my presentation was, when you're trying to put on an event like this, because there's the organizational pieces that go into it as well. Not just the gameplay, the script and practices. There's the youth football camp that we did, and things like that. So there's a lot of logistics pieces that go into it too, and you need to have a coach who's flexible and able to rock and roll and a staff that understands that as well. So kind of a long-winded answer for you, but I love doing these. Like you mentioned, I found my niche in this, I think, and I got a kid from one of the last games I did who's with the Packers right now. So, I still keep in touch with Chris, and he did a video for my guys for Team Marion, and just talking about his experiences with All-Star games, and that kind of gave him an extra little bit of juice that Friday night. So yeah, it's fun. I love it.
Thanks for the answer, Coach. I mean, not many people know the nuts and bolts of what goes behind coaching an All-Star game. So I really appreciate the answer. So start with Coach Grove. I'll go to my co-host for their questions, and then we'll just make the rounds.
Coach Downing, similar to the kids that came through, my question, the first question, consistent question would be, coming from 2 other bowl games in your background, I mean, what was the emotion, or what was it like for a first year event walking into Marion day one for measurements for the guys?
Phenomenal. The other bowl games I've done have been 10 years deep, so they've had opportunities to work out the kinks from a logistics side and things. I think you guys prepared well. Definitely the draw from the scouts. There was 27 when I had counted. I asked a lot of the scouts as well. That's one of the things we try to do better each time, right? My first year head coaching one of these, I didn't even know I could talk to the scouts. My second year, I talked to them before practice, but this year I was like, all right. We happened to be having a staff meeting in the weigh-in room, and as they were filtering in, introduced myself to every one of them, gave them my number, told them, text me so I got theirs if we have any kind of personnel changes or roster changes at the last minute, because those do happen. Things like that. I was like, I can let you know, keep you updated. I was like, if you have trouble finding the kid or running the kid down, I can help you with that too. So, and a lot of their feedback was it definitely compares with some of the longer running bowls, and they said this is the first year. It's phenomenal. So I think you guys did a great job, and I know it's going to continue to get better every year. But for your first time coming out and doing this, I think it was a tremendous event.
Yeah, we appreciate that breakdown, bro. Appreciate it.
100%. I would say, Omar, don't worry about time. We can do our edits as we on the back end, but I would say, Coach, man, we appreciate you doing this for us, man. We appreciate all the stuff you've done for us so far, man, and just really appreciate the relationship and the ability to communicate, and I always enjoy communicating with ball coaches, man, that have a certain demeanor, and then you're our type of guy, and I hope to think that we're your type of guy, and I just enjoy every communication that we have with you, man. So just first want to say that, and then my question to you is, thinking about HBCU football. I mean, we jumped into this for a reason. I mean, our background. I mean, we minor league football in arena, Canadian League. I mean, all our stuff has been about trying to help guys, move forward. So this was about jumping in for the kids for us, man. And obviously we want this to be a success. We want to stay around for 20 years, right? And we want to do something for our home state. But this is about these kids, man. And these kids getting an opportunity that they have not had in probably over 20 years. And I got to ask you, as a guy on the inside of HBCU football, are you starting to see this subject be something that people are starting to wrap their minds around as a let's go make this better for these guys? You starting to see any movement in philosophy there?
Yeah, I am, absolutely, and it just seems too late. It should have been the support. You know what I mean? There should have been the support from the beginning. Mm-hmm. But I will say that you're seeing it, especially with, look at the kids at Neon's Landing and things like that, and the fact that the Senior Bowl got involved with the combine. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's definitely finally something that they're starting to wrap their head around, and credit to you guys too for the format you guys have yours, and not charging the kids to play in like some of the other bowls do. I think you get a lot more conference support. I think this game showed that. You know what I mean? So I really believe that you guys have the hearts in the right direction. This game is far and above the best that I've taken place in, because it's aligned with my ideologies as well. It's truly altruistic. The reason you're doing it, it's for the kids. It's for the kids, and that's why I do what I do and coach, because I'm here for my kids, So I think that it's finally something that is being addressed as it should have been a long time ago.
Absolutely, Coach. That's good to hear, man. And I got to say this too, man. Watching you work and watching you do what you do, man, I saw where the kids like you, man. I mean, that's a big thing when it comes to being a football coach. I mean, I always wanted guys to feel where I was coming from, and I see that in you, man. And these guys really like being around you. So when it comes to you and keeping in touch with guys and making sure you're watching guys' careers and being there as a guy that wants to help and can help them when they need it. What's your philosophy there?
I try to be a resource for the kids, as far as anything really, on the field, off the field. I had a kid from a prior bowl game that his degree was in finance. My day job is in finance. I got him a job at the company that I work for, so anything really. And a big way we keep in touch with the kids is we started GroupMe. I did that the weekend there. So every time, as soon as I had their phone numbers, everything went in the GroupMe. It helped us communicate about any logistics changes that weekend, but also, allows me to keep in touch. Talked to Kingston after his pro day last Saturday. Really just being a resource for these guys. And I tell them all the time from day one, I said, whether I had you for a season or a weekend, you're all my guys. So, and I still keep in touch with all of them, So definitely phone stays active. We've recruited and guys that I'm trying to help out, and we've got coaches who have ties to Arena. I know Coach Williams, that's your background, and some of the common thread of our whole coaching staff, with the exception of I think two, have backgrounds in Arena, which I think says a lot for Arena as well, because we're fast tempo, and you have to understand that, and the fact that we've got coaches that are well versed in Arena football that come from that, and then the other guys were well versed in the NFL. So, I mean, that's fast too. So that's faster. So, but it always works for them because they're able to kind of stockpile their teams. They kind of look at that as, okay, go to the league, but if you don't, hey, we got a team out here that needs somebody, or a team out here that needs somebody. And from the last one I did, we had a kid go to the CIF and win Offensive Player of the Year. Another kid go to CIF and win Defensive Player of the Year. They met in the championship. Defensive Players team came out on top, of course. We had two of the guys who ended up getting signed by one of my coaches' Arena teams in Charlotte, and two of them, and one of them won overall MVP of the league, and the other one won Rookie of the Year of the league. So, we're putting these guys at some levels of football so they can extend their football careers and get film and continue to do that, and hopefully move up from there. So that's another reason we like doing these, is because a lot of kids, if the NFL doesn't happen, it doesn't have to end for you. And I tell guys all the time, play as long as you can, because one day you can't turn back the clock. Like, that's why we coach now, right? Because we can't get on the field, strap them up, and play anymore. So, I tell them to get as much of it as they can before they said, okay, I'm gonna call it a career. Because if you don't get everything you can out of it, you'll be 25, 29, 30, 32. You'd be like, I wish I would have given it one more. So yeah, we like to put our guys to work wherever it is.
That's right. That's my last question to you, Coach. I'm gonna lead in and say you're kind of like the other guys, man. You're gonna be dealing with us for the next 20 years. You're our first winning head coach, right? So you'll always be in the record books when it comes to this game and the development of that game. But so you kind of stuck with us too, man. So you might as well just get ready to keep on coming back and continue to do what you do and grow with us, bro.
But the town of Marion, so I'm gonna have to get ready for me and my guys. My coaching staff all told me they'll be back for another year. So
that's right. 100%. I do have to say this though. Last question though. How important is it, Coach, from you being on the inside of HBCU again and creating these pro opportunities for these kids? How important is it? Because I think it's pretty important for all of us here at our game. I think it's important for the folks over at the HBCU Legacy Bowl. I think it's important for the folks that put together the HBCU Combine. I even think it's important for the the schools to get ingratiated in this thing too. How important is it for all of us to really work together and change the landscape of what's happening at this level of football and the pro level?
100%. And I love the fact that that's the motto is we're not competing, right? We're all trying to give them additional platforms, and that's what it's about, really, is that additional platform. Look at Kane. I mean, he did the circuit, we call it. He did as many All-Star games as he could jump on. And I think that's important. If everybody works in tandem to really get the platform bigger, and really spotlight. That's why I love this show. I love what you guys are doing. You continue to have things pre-planned and everything like that, and on high gear. I think it's super important. And like I said, it should have been, done a long time ago, where we're all kind of working in concert together. Unity. There's strength in unity. And that's what I think that we need to remember at the end of the day.
That's right. We appreciate you, Coach. That's all I got. You guys got anything else?
Coach Downing, as we are a show that's going a little bit over the scheduled time, I'm scared to ask you this because we could go on all day. But as a defensive line coach, how important is get off?
Oh, it's super important. It's super important. Get off in your first two steps. But you can have great ones if you don't have good hands. You got to see the hands to defeat the hands. You know what I mean? So it's their hands and feet have to come with you at all times. So. Yeah, I'm working on correcting a little offsides issue I have right now with my guys currently. So, but we'll get it together. They're trying to be too fast off the ball a little bit. So, that can be a little bug when it comes to that. But we'll get it together. And yeah, super important that get off, being able to anticipate the snap, shooting your hands with it. All of it works in concert.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, it's kind of a vanilla playbook for most all-star games. I'm not too familiar with the HBCU Pigskin Showdown rules, but I assume it's like most other all-star games and that there's no blitzing allowed. Yeah. How did that change in-game, your kind of personnel decisions and all that, knowing that you were the pass rush, so there wasn't any linebacker to come off the edge or anything to help you out?
Yeah, so no fifth man pressures is the actual rule. So if you run out of 4-3, obviously, now if you run out of a 3-4, you can theoretically have it because you still got a 5-on-4 there, so they can pick it up. So, but you just had to be smart. My defensive coordinator has been with me for all three of them, Coach Jermaine Smith, and so he builds it in because we know that's a guaranteed rule. So yeah, we adjust on the fly. I've been in some games where it's not allowed, but coach on the other sideline did it. So you also had to have, Devin Latta, my O-line coach, had him prepared in case they tried to sneak one in there. So because the thing about it is, Coach Williams kind of hit on it earlier, but without saying it, is in coaching this, Coach Grove, Coach Williams, guys like that have a really difficult task sometimes in finding guys who get it. There's a lot of guys who put winning as paramount to actually giving the kids their opportunity. Right. And that's always a concern of people who run games like these, like Coach Williams, Coach Grove. I like to consider myself a guy who gets it. It's about the kids and wins. Yeah, everybody wants to win. But I go in and I say, look, my job is to try and get you guys an opportunity and showcase your abilities. Winning comes secondary to me behind really thirdly, because, it's about showcasing your abilities and staying healthy. So, I think you got to have guys that understand that, players that understand that. It's got to be kind of reiterated and be one of those kind of key phrases that they hear all weekend is, practicing smart, keep each other healthy. So, but yeah, so it's just kind of a theme of continuing to embrace, stay healthy and having coaches that understand what the game's really about. So yeah, my DC was, he had a playbook that was ready. He was primed and ready with it, and had fun with it. So, we were good on that standpoint. And actually, another funny anecdote from the game is Carl, the linebacker we had from Skegee on the sideline, he said, "Coach, you ain't coached a lick of football all weekend, you know." And I said, "Carl, I'm only a head coach for a weekend. I tend to enjoy it, and you know, also part of that is understanding that having a staff that is good at what they do. As a head coach, you have to know, especially when you're a position coach where you're at, when to pull back and let the coaches you selected coach their position. You know, you have to worry about, your focus is more on the transitions in and out of segments, overall flow of practice, all that good stuff. I was blessed to have Coach Burns and Coach Smith who really tag teamed the box, and then Coach Hanna out there with the DBs was a phenomenal guy. So I can't say enough about the coaching staff and having those kids ready. It was really they did the bear share. I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed the holistic view, if you will. So
I'll take my last question out of the Move the Sticks podcast question playbook, so to speak. Who's the best high school football player you've gotten to watch in person?
Ooh, I don't know. I can't even give you an answer right there. I can't even give you an answer right there. There's so many to choose from. I'm partial to any D lineman though. Give me somebody who will push the pocket and get at that passer. Who won't jump off sides.
Exactly. Right. Anticipate the snap, but don't get 5 yards out of the way.
Yeah.
Coach, you've been so generous with your time. I appreciate you coming on today.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Anytime you guys want me to jump on, I'm more than willing to.
Thanks, Coach.
We appreciate you, man.
Yep.
We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.
Wow, would you look at that? Hour 31, man. You might as well call us the Batman movie with how long we've been running. But but with that, I'm not sure how we're feeling. I don't know if we want to do a quick pro comparison for the last two guys. All right, so really quick. So moving on to Brett Silv. I know we probably should have started with him, I guess, a pro comparison, but we were improvising a bit. So for me, Brett Silv, I kind of look at college schemes too. I mean, we kind of talked about this last week when comparing Jet Duffy. I looked at like Vernon Adams, almost like Vernon Davis, Vernon Adams, and Gardner Minshew. But when I look at Brett Silv, I got a guy that kind of came onto the scene later last season after Derrick Henry's injury, and I want to compare him to Dontrell Hilliard. A back that was very efficient, 56 carries, average about 6 yards a carry for the Titans in Derrick Henry's wake. 15 of his 56 carries were for first downs, almost 25% went for first downs. An efficient back, came from a sort of similar system, in Willie Fritz's first couple of years at Tulane, where they ran the option more heavily. I mean, now with Mike Pratt slinging the ball, like they're running the option less because they don't really need to. But I kind of see Dontrell Hilliard, and if we're throwing it way back to a guy with a similar background, Jonathan Dwyer of the Steelers and Cardinals, a guy that played fullback in an option scheme in college and, was sort of a power back, in his time. So I can sort of see Brett Silv being either one of those guys, despite the size discrepancy. So what's your guys' input on Brett Silv's pro comparison?
For Brett Silv, I'll go with what he compared himself to with Maurice Jones-Drew, right? A little bit of a smaller back that is still a power back predominantly. He's not Derrick Henry's size. He's not Derrick Henry's strength, but he still has enough lower body strength and plenty of production to go along with it. And like I said, smaller, not the Dree Archer speed, but enough speed and quickness more than anything to get the job done.
That's right. I would agree with both of you. I'm going with, man, I was watching a bunch of guys today and trying to figure out who I was going to compare him to, but I'm going with Giovanni Bernard, man. And I was really getting into, his tape and looking at his, his low center of gravity. And I mean, he uses that to his advantage in the way he runs the ball. Not only that, but, in the blocking game too. And as I was comparing that to Brett's film, I saw a lot of the same traits, and I see a guy that I see both guys in the same body type, both the same type of speed, both have a home run mentality when they're running the football. So I went with Giovanni Bernard on that one with him.
And Gio's one of the better pass catching backs in the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah, and so moving on to Jeremiah Kane, I don't really have much of a comparison because I don't have a knowledge of many pass rushes, but he looks like an interior guy. So the first thing that comes to mind for me, I guess, interior, I think about a guy like maybe a Senderick Marks, who had a few good years for Jacksonville. But that's as far as my interior D line knowledge goes for in terms of guys with that type of size in a sort of 4-3. I mean, I think that. Tennessee State from that highlight film ran a 4-3 scheme. So that's about as far as my knowledge goes in terms of D tackles in that scheme.
I like that.
I'm going to go with a guy I mentioned a little bit earlier in Jordan Davis, and I'm not saying that Jordan Davis' size, but I say that because Jordan, when you watch him on tape, I mean, he looks like he gets gas easily. I even said on Hardware during the regular season, Omar, that I thought maybe it's just literally his size that makes him so good. Maybe he's not that great of a technique guy. He's deceptively fast and deceptively good at everything pass rushing. And that kind of Kane reminded me a little bit of that, in that he's so big compared to the competition that it looks like maybe that's the advantage. But then when you really do a little bit of a deeper dive into it, no, he's actually deceptively fast. He's only going to get faster working with the specialists he is in Atlanta.
Nice. I like that one too. I mean, both of those are good. I think, and athletically, both of those, fit the category too, which is, probably why I like those two comparisons. I'm gonna go with, if you guys know Grover Stewart, and I was trying to find an HBCU guy that's gone through this process before and has found himself in sort of the same situation as Jeremiah. So Grover Stewart's a guy out of Albany State, came out in 2017. He's with the coach right now. He's a 4th round draft pick, and Grover Stewart was looking at his film again today, 2-gap guy, inside guy, really, really tough run stop guy that can pursue, right? And Grover Stewart came out of college with the same size. He's 6'3", 6'4", 295, and he plays now in the NFL on the interior at 325. So I think that Jeremiah's got this potential to where he can still add weight, he can still add strength, and if he gets that weight and strength, man, he's so athletic and so powerful inside, and he can disengage and chase. That's a natural thing for him. So I kind of think that he'll get into a program, add some weight, add some strength, and again, man, I mean, they're talking about a guy. If you're comparing a guy like Grover Stewart, 4th round pick, somebody takes a chance on Jeremiah Kane somewhere in that 4th to 7th round, you may have a guy that can play a lot of years in the NFL. So I think once again, guys, we had 3 guys that should get some opportunities this year.
Absolutely.
Another thing.
No, go ahead, Jackson. Sorry.
I was just going to say another thing with Jeremiah, sometimes a concern with these larger interior defensive linemen is production. Man, look this year versus Southern. He had 11 tackles. In Alcorn State, he had 10 tackles. He's productive, too. It's not just size. It's not just pressure. He is actually productive when it comes to tackling, a rare characteristic for guys of that stature.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't have a comparison. Go ahead, Omar. My bad.
I was just gonna say I don't doubt that with all the speed training he's gonna be doing, is like he'll be making like a lot more tackles. I think even on special teams too, in punt coverage, because you need guys that block and then can get down the field. That's all I was gonna say, Coach Grove.
Yeah, my bad, but I don't have a comparison for him. But it was ironic he mentioned working on his stance, and me watching him. He's a big, strong guy. But if he can develop a solid base in his stance and be able to transfer all that energy from his lower half and those long arms, able to use his hands better than what he does, he's going to be off the charts. So it was ironic. I know they're working on everything, but he specifically mentioned his stance. And if he gets that stance, a solid stance, where he can transfer all that speed, energy, and athleticism, he's going to be somebody to reckon with. So he's going to find himself a home somewhere.
Coach Grove, you mentioned arm length. Do you happen to know where to find that? Because you can find that on the combine guys, but I couldn't find it on.
I didn't look at it. I can just tell by looking at him. I stood next to him, and you can see it on the film that his arms are just off the chart. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not saying off the legitimate chart, but he has long arms, and he can learn to use those more. And in a stance, a proper stance, the kid is going to get, significantly increase in his percentage of how he affects what he does already,
Yeah, I mean, shoot. Just piggybacking off that, Coach. I mean, you mentioned long arms, pass back downs, or pass breakups for linemen. With J.J. Watt and other linemen too, getting into the act. Definitely a huge thing for arm length as well. So, really appreciate you bringing that up, Coach. But until next time, I mean, does anyone have anything final to cap this off with?
I think we're doing just fine, guys. It was fun once again.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, nothing more I'd rather be doing on a Thursday night. But really appreciate this time, guys. It's been fun as well, and looking forward to next time. And for everyone watching, till next time, everyone, peace, love, and soul.
See you guys.